"Be clean." Instantly the leprosy disappeared, and the man was made whole. At the gates of a city, a Roman centurion approached him, pleading on behalf of his paralyzed servant. "Lord, I do not deserve to have you come under my roof," he said, "but just say the word, and my servant will be healed." Jesus marveled at the centurion's faith, declaring, "Truly I tell you, I have not found anyone in Israel with such great faith." At that moment, the servant was healed, demonstrating the power of faith in the one sent by God. Every act of mercy revealed the heart of God. He restored sight to the blind, enabling them to see the beauty of creation once more. He gave hearing to the deaf, allowing them to hear the voices of their loved ones and the words of his teaching. He healed those crippled by years of pain, lifting them to their feet with strength and joy. He cast out demons, silencing their torments with a word and setting captives free from the chains of spiritual oppression. In the synagogues, on the hillsides, and along the dusty roads of Galilee, Jesus embodied the love and power of God. Each miracle was not merely a display of divine power, but a profound expression of compassion, a sign that God's kingdom had come near. Jesus taught with a wisdom that left his listeners astonished, unveiling the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven through vivid and relatable parables. "The kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed," he said, holding up the tiny seed between his fingers. "Though it is the smallest of all seeds, when it grows, it becomes the largest of garden plants, providing shelter to the birds of the air." His words painted a picture of God's reign, a seemingly insignificant beginning that would grow into something magnificent, expansive, and life-giving. These simple, yet profound illustrations challenged the proud, uplifted the humble, and transformed hearts. They offered hope to the downtrodden and direction to the lost, yet they also provoked the anger of the religious elite. The Pharisees, bound by their rigid interpretations of the law, murmured among themselves, questioning his authority. "This man does not come from God," they whispered, narrowing their eyes as they observed him. Their opposition became especially fierce when Jesus challenged their strict interpretation of the Sabbath. One day, as Jesus and his disciples walked through a grain field, his disciples began to pick heads of grain and eat them. The Pharisees, quick to accuse, confronted him. "Look, your disciples are doing what is unlawful on the Sabbath." Jesus, undeterred, responded with both wisdom and authority. "Have you not read what David did when he and his companions were hungry? He entered the house of God, and they ate the consecrated bread, which was not lawful for them to do, but only for the priests." His words revealed the heart of the law rather than its letter. The Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath, so the Son of Man is Lord even of the Sabbath. On another Sabbath, Jesus entered the synagogue, where a man with a shriveled hand sat quietly. The Pharisees, watching closely, hoped to trap him. "Will he heal on the Sabbath?" they whispered, their intentions filled with malice. Jesus, aware of their thoughts, called the man to stand before the congregation. Turning to the Pharisees, he posed a question that pierced through their hypocrisy. "Is it lawful to do good on the Sabbath, or to do evil? To save life, or to destroy it?" When they remained silent, refusing to answer, Jesus looked at them with both sorrow and righteous anger. Then, turning to the man, he said, "Stretch out your hand." The man obeyed, and his hand was completely restored. The crowd gasped in awe, but the Pharisees, seething with fury, left the synagogue and began to plot against him. Meanwhile, Jesus' compassion manifested powerfully in moments of need. In Cana of Galilee, during a wedding feast, a crisis loomed beneath the joyful celebration. The wine had run out. For the hosts, it was a moment of great embarrassment. Mary, the mother of Jesus, noticed the dilemma and approached her son with quiet urgency. "They have no more wine," she said, her tone filled with faith. "Woman, why do you involve me?" Jesus replied gently. "My hour has not yet come." Yet Mary, confident in his compassion, turned to the servants and said, "Do whatever he tells you." Nearby stood 6 large stone jars, their capacity enough to hold gallons of water. Jesus directed the servants, "Fill the jars with water." They obeyed, filling them to the brim. Then he instructed, "Now draw some out and take it to the master of the banquet." As the master tasted the water, now transformed into wine, his astonishment was evident. "Everyone brings out the choice wine first, and then the cheaper wine after the guests have had too much to drink," he exclaimed to the bridegroom. "But you have saved the best till now." The feast resumed, joy restored, but the moment carried a significance far beyond the celebration. It was the first sign of Jesus' glory, a quiet yet profound revelation of the abundance of God's kingdom. His disciples, witnessing the miracle, believed in him anew. Jesus' ministry grew, and the crowds following him swelled. One day, on the shores of Galilee, a vast multitude gathered to hear him teach. As evening approached, the people grew hungry. The disciples urged Jesus to send them away to find food, but he replied, "You give them something to eat." "Master, we have only 5 loaves and 2 fish, they protested. "Bring them to me," Jesus said. He directed the people to sit on the grass, lifting the meager offering in his hands. Looking up to heaven, he gave thanks, broke the loaves, and distributed the food to his disciples. As they handed it out, the bread and fish multiplied in their hands. The crowd, over 5,000 men, not counting women and children, ate until they were satisfied.